Hey everyone, welcome to Itza Nails. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I went from these natural nails to these fall nails. I hope you enjoy and stay tuned. So here I'm going to start with my arbor nail file, and I'm doing this very gently, just basically to clean up around the cuticle area, remove the shine, and it's going at a very low speed. You can't really tell on the video. And also, I'm not going back and forth, FYI. It's very important so that you don't damage your natural nail. I'm actually lifting in between. I'm not going like a seesaw motion, because otherwise that's where you cause burn and damage. And like I said, it's very lightly and just to remove the natural shine of the nail, and this helps with better adherence of the acrylic. And FYI, you can definitely use a hand file. You do not need to go and buy an electric nail file, sorry. You don't need to buy one. Use what you have. I like this method because it helps with the strain on my wrist, and it's also a little bit faster in time. Anyways, afterwards, I remove all the dust from the filing. Make sure that way there's no dust particles in there so it won't interfere with the adherence of the acrylic. And then I'm going to use my homemade nail dehydrator. I found this very, very useful in saving money. You can make your own. I think I have a video. I'll link it up at the top. Super easy. Then use my favorite nail tip glue. It's by KDS, and this one glues on super fast. And when doing nails, one of the things that used to take more time for me was the actual gluing the tip. And then I use the line Be Gone on just the nail, the smile line, the plastic nail tip. I put that in so that it's easier to fade out that smile line into my natural nail. So I just put a couple brushes, and then again, you can use your hand file. I just like to use my electric nail file because it speeds up the process and it saves my wrist from all that pain from filing. But anyways, I'm just doing it again at a very low speed, only on the smile line. And then from that, make sure to remove the dust. And then I'm again going to now apply the primer. This is the nail primer that I use, but you can use any of your choosing. And it is essential and necessary because that one helps the acrylic bond to your natural nail. And yes, it is different than the nail dehydrator. So both things are required. I've had that question a lot. But anyways, now I'm going to go in with my clear acrylic, and I'm going to use a small wet bead, sorry, that I got off a frame. But I use this to protect my natural nail, especially when I'm using very pigmented colors or glitters. That way, when it comes time to remove it, it's much easier and it's not sticking directly to my nail. So I always recommend putting a small bead of clear acrylic before colors or glitters. And something that you're going to see me do throughout this whole video is clean the sidewalls whenever applying my acrylic, because if you do leave any acrylic that spills over to your skin, it's going to cause premature lifting. So that's why you see me constantly pointing my finger down and also going in with my nail brush along the sides to make sure I don't let any acrylic dry on the skin. As long as you move quickly with this part, it'll be fine. You won't really have lifting, but just keep an eye on that. On this nail right here, I'm only building it with clear acrylic because this one I'm going to actually be using gel nail polishes to do the design. So here I'm just going to use one of my own colored acrylics that I've made using pigments for nails. And a tip that I want to give you personally, when I'm working with very, very pigmented colors like this one, I like to work in smaller beads, even if that requires me to do the 3 bead process, whatever it helps, so that I lay it better, it's not too bulky, and I have better coverage. And with this pigment, or this colored acrylic, the pigment that I use is very, very pigmented. So I like to use, like I said, like the 3-ball method, and then I take a look back at my nail and see where it is that I need to apply more or adjust my application. I am always cleaning the sidewalls, and also in order for the nail to maintain its shape, its tapered shape, I always like to use my brush and pat down the sidewalls of my nails, so that way it also cuts down on the filing time. Another quick tip that I want to give you is when using colored acrylics, I tend to like to use my bead a little bit wetter than I would my clear acrylic, simply because I notice and feel like it dries a lot faster. So a wetter bead will allow me more time to work with it and feather it down. And that's what you see me here that's what you see me do here, sorry, with the Cover Peach acrylic that I'm using on this index finger. Is I put the wet bead and then just lightly feather it down, making sure it doesn't distort the sidewalls, the tip. Otherwise it's going to end up looking more of a square instead of that tapered look. So that's why I always work with a little bit of a wetter bead, not too wet, but it'll give me more flexibility and more time to work it and feather it. And then also keep a close eye on where you apply that acrylic so that it doesn't make the nail wider than you want it to, and so that it maintains the shape that you gave it, in this case for this tapered square. So now I'm going to be using these gold flakes as a decoration on the 2 burgundy nails. Basically this is very fragile foil, and you can just grab this. I like to make it smaller, and so I just grab it between my fingers, roll it, and it'll make it into the smaller pieces that I want. Super easy. You don't have to use scissors or anything, because like I said, the gold flakes are very, very delicate. And then I get a wet bead of a clear acrylic and I set it on the nail, and quickly with my wet brush I pick up those snowflakes. That's how I found it to be a little bit more easier. Or you can also use tweezers. So after I am done with this design, I'm just going to go ahead and encapsulate all of the nails that require encapsulating. I need to pay close attention to the nail foil, make sure it's completely encapsulated, because otherwise, if you don't, at the time of filing down your nail at the finishing, you're going to go ahead and just file it off. So you also want to make sure that when applying the foil or anything that you're going to embed inside the nail is nice and flat and not too thick and very well encapsulated. But anyways, you see me go in with my hand file. I like to use my hand file for the sides, the sidewalls, and the edge, the free edge of the nail. So after I am done with the filing and removing of dust, I'm going to be using this Hoya Mia white nail polish. It's one of my favorite. I just like the consistency of it because it doesn't run all over, and I love the opacity, the color coverage that it gives. So I only need like 1 or 2 coats, and I cure in between each coat. And then I'm going to be using my Nail Light Gentle Matte Top Coat. I love it. It really does give it a good matte coverage, and it lasts a long time. So for the matte, I am curing it under the light, and then clean up, remove any sticky layer. And then I'm going to be using these homemade alcohol inks. I wanted a fall vibe, and like this green and that burnt orange brown color really was giving me those fall vibes. So that's what I'm using. I do recommend when using alcohol inks to wait before adding the alcohol to do the marble look. Wait for it to dry completely, because then you'll get a better effect. So now I'm going to use this small 3D nail brush to have better control of where I place the alcohol. And so to get the desired look, I did go a couple rounds of dabbing with alcohol, letting it dry, and then placing more of that colored alcohol inks, letting them dry, and then going again with the alcohol. And it works best dabbing it, not overflowing your nail brush, not wetting it too much with the alcohol. But anyways, I let this dry completely before I put my top coat, which in this case I'm going to be using this Nail Light Gentle Matte Top Coat again, because I wanted that nail to be matte. And then cure that. I did about 2-3 coats, simply because I wanted to embed these nail flakes, and I also needed them to be completely encapsulated in that matte top coat. So anyway, then the other nails are shiny, and then I put it in the lamp to cure. This is the end result. I hope you guys do enjoy it and like it. If you found it useful, consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you at the next one.